everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my 5 goals for 2025. I meant to make this video back in January and I just kept pushing it off because I'm still getting used to the idea of just like sitting in front of a camera and talking. But I'm super casual right now. I'm just sitting on my couch and decided to just jot down my thoughts and just start filming. So I have my notes on my computer screen next to the camera here. So if I keep looking over here, that's what that is. You might know that in 2024, I launched my online shop, Nini Mart, in August of 2024. So I've always been an artist since I was little, and it's always been kind of a dream to start my own business and start a brand. So I actually can't believe that I did that in 2024. I finally just like took that first step, which is, I think, arguably the hardest step. And it's only been like a little over half a year, and it's really wild how much I've grown as an artist and as a brand. So back in August of 2024, I launched the online store portion of Nini Mart, but it was in June that I first launched Nini Mart at a pop-up market that I organized with some friends. And that was with 2 products that I had, which were my 2 first sticker sheets and also my pet portrait. So since then, I've done many more markets now, which is still kind of hard to believe. Couple more pop-ups with other artists, and the online shop has changed over time also. Yeah, and it's been going really well. I've learned a lot and I've been enjoying the experience so far. For the most part in 2024, I think my goal or my ambition was just to not stop and just try things out. Everything was kind of new to me, so just try things out, try new product types, and go to markets and just keep the momentum going. And I didn't really have like a set list of goals or anything like that. It was just mainly just keep it going and see where it goes. Going into 2025, I did kind of sit down and reflect on what I want to do this year and kind of like what my priorities are. So I kind of narrowed it down to five goals. So starting with number 1 is do more markets. So recently I kind of reorganized Nini Mart and put a menu on the website where I put all the markets that I did since June of 2024. And it was actually really inspiring to look back on all the markets that I did last year, and I just want to do more markets this year. Now that I have some experience running the online shop and doing markets in person, I think doing markets has been a really, really valuable time for me. You just learn a lot of different things from markets in person that you wouldn't necessarily from running the online portion. So there's a lot to learn from markets, whether it's from other vendors, wisdom, or like tips that other vendors might have that have been doing this for a long time. And markets are a really great way to just like test out ideas, because every market is kind of a new opportunity to test something out and seeing what works and what doesn't work. It's also like really fun to do, especially when like online sales is a little bit slow sometimes. It's really like the markets that keep me active and motivated and inspired. So yeah, I want to do more markets. It's also great to meet new people, new vendors, customers, and also like people who organize these markets. So far, I already had 1 market in 2025. the first weekend of February, and that was the Lunar New Year Uri Market at Tangram Mall in Flushing, which was really fun. And on the horizon right now, I will be vending at the Chicago Stationery Fest in March. And I just got into a pretty big, exciting market that will be happening in New York in May. So that's exciting. Kind of like related to markets, another goal is to kind of pivot my setup to be very much like pet portrait focused. I've learned from my past markets last year that at least in person, it's really the pet portraits that drive interest to my table. And I've experimented with like a couple different setups for doing pet portraits, from, you know, like longer 30-minute or like 15-minute portraits to I think I found kind of like the best format, which is kind of like 3 to 5 minute cute quick portraits. I have some plans for how to change my table setup to really emphasize that I do pet portraits, and maybe have more of a setup to film some of that, and when I'm doing the portraits at markets, to then kind of turn them into content as well. But yeah, I love doing pet portraits at these markets, so I definitely want to do more of those. So that was number one, do more markets. Okay, number two is make more handmade items and focusing a little bit more on quality over quantity of my products. So, hi Nini. That's Nini. She's the CEO of Nini Mart. Okay, so something I learned last year is that I don't need to order quite as many units of the same of like a product from manufacturers. I think especially coming from working at a retail business where I was buying things or placing orders for things wholesale from wholesale vendors, I think my kind of idea of how many units I need to order for an item was a little bit skewed towards like bigger numbers. Let's just say that I was a little bit heavy-handed with the ordering, especially in the beginning of Nini Mart. And I think it has a little bit to do with, you know, trying to keep the cost down a little bit and being a little bit nervous about like selling out or not having enough. Something I've realized is that at this stage in this business, that's not something that I should worry about, to be honest. And basically, right now, I have more time than I have money to invest into Nini Mart. So back in around like December, I started to print, laminate, and cut stickers at home. I cut them by hand, and it's been working fine, and I like the quality of the product when I work on it by hand as well. So I think I'm gonna continue in that direction with a lot of my products and produce smaller quantities of more like diverse designs, basically, which is another way to like test more ideas, which I think is more important at this stage. Down the line, there is a chance that I will invest in a cutting machine, one of those Cricut or Silhouette, those type of machines, so I can do stickers at home a little bit more efficiently than cutting them by hand. So I'm hoping that will also happen this year. And along with stickers, I also do want to try making more things, such as little acrylic charms that I started making last year. And I want to make more like plushies out of crochet. I did sell some crocheted Christmas ornaments at markets last year, and I love knitting, crocheting, so I think I just want to do more of that. And some stamps. So I do have some stamps online right now, which I ordered from a stamp company. But stamps, like things like that, like the cost for something like that, because I'm not like able to order like a ton of them, because I'm not moving products as fast as like a bigger, retail company. Cost versus how much I can sell them for just doesn't really make sense for me, which brings me to think that I want to try making stamps at home as well, which will involve some carving. But all of these, I think, are fun projects to do at home, so I'm just gonna try making stamps at home. So that was number 2, make more handmade items. And then on to number 3 is to do more pop-ups with my friends who are artists. So we actually formed a artist collective last year called Offline Recess. And last October, we came together as a group and did a pop-up pop-up market. So the collective is basically a group of artists and makers in different mediums. We came together as a collective because we're all kind of trying to establish ourselves as makers and artists. And it's just easier to kind of do things together as a group and make opportunities that like benefit all of us, such as a pop-up market, which is harder to do as an individual, with the cost and everything involved in that. So we did do a pop-up market back in October. It was really fun and inspiring for me, at least, that we were able to pull this off as like such a small group. And I think the goal is to just like encourage each other to keep making things and like continue our like endeavors as artists. So I want to do at least one pop-up in the summer and maybe aim to do one more towards the end of the year. And the goal with this is really to like encourage each other and also broaden our experience. Maybe we can go beyond just doing pop-up markets, and also make connections through these opportunities with other artists and customers. And personally, my kind of ultimate goal is to rent a studio or retail space together as a group of artists. I think a lot of artists would relate to, how hard it is to work at home on these like creative projects. Sometimes you need a lot of space, or like sometimes you need resources that is a lot more expensive to have as an individual. So I think having a studio, like a communal studio, would be really like an amazing accomplishment. I think it might be hard to do by the end of the year this year, but I think if we don't get to it this year, it will definitely be a big goal next year. Okay, number 4 is this is something that's been on my list of goals since like every year since 2018, which is to learn 3D design. So 2018 is when I left architecture school. I was in architecture school for graduate school, and then 2018 is when I left school. I learned some 3D programs at architecture school. It's been a goal every year since then to kind of like keep learning and keep honing those skills. But I must say, I think with work and just life things, that's kind of like never really happened. And I think at this point, even with the programs or like the software that I did learn in school, it's really rusty. So I think this year I really want to make it a priority to learn a software. I'm thinking Blender right now because it's free and a lot of people I think enjoy using it, and it, at least from what I've seen, the controls look like pretty intuitive. I'm not sure, but I want to really try learning a 3D software this year. Aside from it being just like a good skill to have, I would really like to get to a point in 3D design to be able to use that skill for experimenting with other mediums like ceramics or 3D printing. Yeah, things like that. Basically, I just want to eventually, a personal goal is to make some toys because I love collectible toys. So I think to be able to do that, I think learning 3D design is kind of like crucial. So that's number 4. And then number 5, manage work-life balance. I'm basically like really new to freelancing or like working for myself, and I'm still trying to learn how to manage time better. And yeah, some days I'm like super motivated and really productive, and some days I'm really not. And I think it's really hard when you work for yourself, especially as an artist, where I definitely have days where I'm just like really down on myself and like not really confident about my art. So there are moments where I'm like, am I even doing something that I should be doing, or like, is this even, worth it? So one of those days, it's really hard to get up and like get back in my seat and just like keep working. So I think a goal this year is to have a balance in terms of like my mood swings with how I feel as an artist. And since I think a big lesson from last year since I started Nini Mart is like ownership of my own business and my own brand. And I really admire other artists that I've come to kind of like meet and like get to know better in the past few months. It is really, at the end of the day, it is a job as like any other job if you treat it that way, and you can be really consistent and regimented. And I want to get to a point where it's kind of like not even a question that this is my job. So I'm still new to this and I'm still struggling to kind of like get to that point. So that's definitely one of my goals. At the same time, I did get a part-time job this year, pretty recently, in like towards the end of January. I got a job part-time as a barista. Some of you might know that I used to be a barista before I worked in stationery. I love working with coffee and I love being a barista. I love it as kind of like a skill set as well. And at this point, I did get this job for financial reasons. And I think the challenge right now is to manage my physical health so that I don't get burned out while doing this part-time job that can be very physically demanding. And yeah, just to manage it better so that I'm not too burnt out at the end of the day to still work on Nini Mart. And also just like time management too. I am going to work out a schedule each month at the cafe, depending on my market schedule basically. So I can already see that it's going to be like very tiring in like some months. So it's going to be a challenge to like manage that and like balance that better. So yeah. And at the same time, also, I'm really gonna try to have like quality time in my personal life. And I already have some travel plans coming up in April. in May. I have a lot of like family stuff going on, and I also really want to go to Japan this year. I really wanted to go to Japan last year, but I wasn't able to, so I would really love to go to Japan this year. And just like have, like, I think it's important to not get carried away too much with work, that you're not, you know, making time in your personal life with your friends and your partners and your family and your pets. So that is my final goal on this list, is to find a good balance between work and life, which I'm sure is on everyone's list. So yeah, those are my 5 priorities or like goals for 2025. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it was fun to watch, and if you have any questions for me, or if you have any comments about what I talked about today, you know, points you relate to, or any tips or advice on things that I talked about today, I would appreciate all of that. And I want to do some like stationery organization kind of video coming up next, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.